2 seconds. That's not enough time, Tom.
Alrighty, well, we're minus 2 seconds. Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell. And with me today...
Is that my cue?
Okay. We have Scott Alden from BoardGamegeek. Welcome, everybody. Before we get started, folks...
Hello, everybody.
That's right.
Remember that?
I do, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But before we do, folks, if you can tell me who's louder and who's softer, and I'll make the mics match. This is me talking.
This is me talking, Aldi.
Oh, wait. All right.
No, this is me talking.
And let's see.
I'm out of practice with this stuff.
That's true. I have to say that I was back in the day. When you guys first started this, I thought, why did I didn't know we could do audio. Because I was writing reviews.
I didn't know you could do audio.
Well,
yeah.
I'm a bit louder. Well, there you go. Nice.
All right. I'm a soft-spoken person.
Yeah, but he has better
Probably
mics.
Just that.
Yeah, when Aldi first did it, it was interesting. People may not realize when he first did his podcast, you couldn't just go download it. You had to file share it. I didn't even know what file sharing was. And then after I downloaded his podcast, I thought, I wonder what else you could file share. And that's when I found that you could file share movies and TV shows that were not supposed to be done. So I lived in Korea at the time, and it was a whole new world. But that file sharing only lasted a few episodes, right?
Yeah. What is the name of that file sharing? BitTorrent.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, BitTorrent. That's name. Right.
It's been around for a while. And we were using it for legitimate purposes.
Well, sure. The podcast was legitimate. But the thing was, you had
definitely a pirate pod.
And when I listened to it, I thought, man, I didn't know you could do audio. That's so much cooler. And then I did everything I could to angle an invitation to get on the show, to the point where I left work early. I was a teacher at the time.
Yeah.
I told them it was an emergency and I had to go home. Well, somewhat of an emergency.
Which show? Do you remember which show you were on? Like what number it was, or around?
I don't. But I do remember that.
Must have been in the first 10.
I was joined by, you had like a random person on. I don't mean to say it negatively, but like you wanted to give this person like a gift for their birthday or something, so they were on the show too. And we talked about
I can't remember any of that.
How many games I got at a con, and I thought, wow, I love doing this. And some people said that they liked the voice thing, and so I immediately thought about podcasting. And then when Mark Johnson made his call and said anybody can be a podcaster, I thought, well, I should try. So,
and how many episodes are you in now? Like thousands?
The Dice Tower, we're not, I want to say we just recorded 659, I think goes up tomorrow. I know we're really close to 666.
Uh-oh.
And I was going to do something funny for the episode, but I can't think of anything. So,
is it still pure audio? Normal. Is there any video aspect to it now, or is it just all straight audio?
We did video for a while where we recorded it and then posted on YouTube, but it's a little weird because you see the breaks, and some people don't like that. I kind of like it because you see the you see the background. Eric and I are actually fairly comfortable in that we have very few breaks, but we still have some breaks, and we'll be like, and now we're going to listen to Jeff. Wasn't that interesting? Because we've already listened to it ahead of time.
Yeah, we did that too with, God, what was his name? Like drama. I mean, it's been 15 years, Tom. I think at least. He would do his review and we would cut it in after. We're like, and take it away, blah blah blah, or whatever.
Rick Tornquist, maybe?
No, it wasn't Rick. It was. I'm gonna get it soon. Oh, I can't. I wish I could remember.
The one thing I could never get. I was very fortunate that Timothy Pinkham composed such a wonderful theme song, and we really like it. But man, your original Geek Speak music was rocking.
Oh yeah, and that was gosh, Geek Speak. I haven't said that name out loud in like 10 years at least.
You should resurrect that music though. That was
a Turtle. Yeah, and those guys won a Grammy. Or I mean, like they were I think they were nominated for a Grammy. So it was like they're great, and I'm still friends with both those guys. They in fact one of the guys was here this past before COVID, and we went out to dinner like in January. So Randy.
Well, there you go.
I don't know why I was trying to remember his name.
I'm telling you, for your online video shows, you need to put that music on one of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
That beep beep. I remember that. What's that kind of music called?
So they wrote that for a sports themed show. They were hoping to sell it for a sports show, and they altered it for us. And then yeah.
I don't even think you can find all the original Geek Speaks online, can you?
No, you can't.
So that's a bygone era.
They've been lost forever.
See, I know that's a lie. Nothing's ever lost. Somebody recorded them
I'd be surprised
somewhere.
actually if someone could find them.
Oh, I'm telling you,
I would be surprised.
I was missing podcasts from my show, and people said, "Oh, I got them." Although that is also one of the biggest blunders we ever made.
What was that? Not archiving them?
No, not archiving them. I thought we could sell them, and the answer to that was a big fat no. Scott Nicholson tried to do the same thing.
Them?
We put them on a DVD, so we made it. We made a DVD with all one.
You were ahead of your time.
No,
Mark Maron sells his podcasts. You can only get access to 50 of them at a time, and then anything beyond 50 you have to pay.
Well,
sure, subscriber.
But at this point in time, I've kind of changed my idea, and I always think I'm a big fan of people who pay for content after the fact, and I like the content itself to be free. That's just me. I don't care if other people make their content paid for, but we said that.
It's just the old stuff. Just the old stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. Maybe try it again. You never know. I mean, you have 600 and something episodes, 666 episodes. That's crazy.
I know. It's interesting. Sometimes, if I think about it, it's fun to go back and listen to an old episode just to hear me complain about something in the industry that's no longer a thing at all.
Right.
Or wish that there was something, or talk about a company. It's just odd. Yeah. But you don't podcast at all anymore, do you? You ever feel like getting back into it?
So, the reason I quit was we were having the same conversation. Different people. It was like, it just kept turning into the same conversation. I'm like, yeah, I recognize this conversation. Oh, yeah, that's the same conversation we had last week. And I just got tired of it. It was always an interview show. It was always set up to interview somebody. It was never just me and my partner back then talking to each other about stuff. Like, we did not talk much about life. I think we did a little bit of that, right? But it was mostly about interviewing a person, like a publisher or a designer, a content creator. I definitely
found that the interviews are hard because you're right. You do end up repeating the same things over and over. People make fun of us about our top tens, but that's always given us kind of a backbone to talk about something.
No, that's smart. Yeah, I think had we had more diverse content, it would have been more fun. And we're near the end. It was just like, it's 7:00 on a Tuesday night. Let's start it up, And honestly, like, I do miss it. I remember those days very fondly. Like, it was fun. Because we're all blazing new trails and stuff that had never been done. And honestly, I don't think it's been done since as an interview, like a pure interview show, like just with one person for like 3 hours. Who has done that? Who does that?
Well, I don't know.
And we shouldn't have done it.
It was a long time, but you know what? It was the only thing, and people listened to it because it was the only thing to listen to, about board games. And it became a thing, and you're definitely...
And honestly, I just got bored with talking about the industry. Like the ins and outs of like what's going to sell, how do you sell games, how do you get noticed in this world? It's the same conversations, and they're still sort of happening still, but different format, like, or different mediums, right? Like Kickstarter. How do you get noticed on Kickstarter? How do you get noticed here? And how do you do that? Yeah. Anyway, I bet I could start it up again.
That's true.
I don't know. I honestly don't.
How should I design a game? Should I start with the theme or the mechanisms? How do I get my game?
You know the questions, Tom. You know the questions.
That's why I actually try to do. That's why I'm doing it this way here, folks. If you wonder why I have people on him, someone said last week I talked to Elizabeth Hargrave from Wingspan. They said you should have asked her more questions about stuff, and I said, well, at the end of the day, there's enough of that out there. I just want to talk about stuff, and so we do have some announcements to make in this show, folks, and we are going to answer your questions. Yes. But before we get to that, I want to talk about one of the announcements that came out today. So there was two big announcements. Unfortunately, the first one was the sad one that Essen Spiel has canceled. Not
postponed
really,
until next year, Tom. Postponed.
That's true. I love the terminology there. They postponed it.
And we were looking at the picture they posted, and it looked like two crab legs, and it was actually a guy wearing a tie, but it was the white lapels of his shirt showing through. It was such a weird picture. We're like, what are those crab legs in the background? Oh, it's some guy wearing a white shirt with a black jacket with his hand putting out a Scrabble tile. It was really strange. We were like, I looked at it for a long time, like, it can't be crab legs. It's not. It's a shirt.
And then the other big announcement of today was that the Spiel des Jahres nominees came out. That's always an interesting thing. They always do it on Monday. It always happens early in the morning. I think, didn't you guys last year stay up and do a live show in the middle of the night when it happened?
We do it off and on, and we used to do it more planned and like really plan for it. But this year we did. We have done it in the past, but this year I didn't want to stay. I didn't know what they were doing. Right. First of all, they were not. They did a Facebook video, as far as I can tell. Yeah. I'm starting
to think that I can tell someone's age by whether they use Facebook or video or not. Anyhow,
you skew older if you're Facebook video or younger.
I think you skew older myself.
Okay.
It's also really easy to do, and I think the low barrier of entry helps people.
Sure.
So the normal Spiel des Jahres, the one that's for families, was My City, Nova Luna, and Pictures. I've played Nova Luna and Pictures. I have not played My City. In fact, I don't think that's out in English yet.
I don't think it is either. I tried to order it, and it's not available.
That is your Rainer Knizia title, who I believe, I'd have to look at numbers, but I think he's been nominated for more Spiel des Jahres than any other designer.
More than Matt Leacock?
No, I didn't say
been nominated. Yeah, he probably has been nominated.
No, not that he's won more. He's only won once, actually.
No. Yeah, he won for what was it? Celtic.
Yeah,
Celtic?
Which was actually one of his, in my opinion, one of the lesser games that he's done.
Yeah, me too. You know? I always felt like Celtic was like, because it was is it Celtic or Celtica? What was the name?
It was Lost Cities, the board game, whatever it's called.
Lost Cities, the board game, yeah.
But I always find it fascinating when his games come out, because Dr. Knizia, like this My City, is a polyomino game, and I think there's some legacy aspects to it, but it always cracks me up because it always seems like he's a couple years behind everybody else. Like he'll come out and be like, "Hey guys, I built this new game with these tiles laying." We're like, Uwe Rosenberg did that a couple years ago, but Knizia's game is always the one that gets nominated.
I love that he operates in a vacuum. He made deck building, I think, without even knowing what deck building was, right?
I cannot believe that. He must at least read the rules, but he must read the rules for other games. There's no way he comes up with all these same mechanisms.
I'm pretty sure he maintains that he doesn't, but maybe he does. Maybe he's like by osmosis or something, you know?
He's got it. There's no way
think so?
that he's so brilliant he invents every mechanism other designers do without knowing. Come on.
Okay, you're right. You're probably right. Occam's razor.
So I have no prediction here, honestly, of which one will win.
I haven't played any of those, but it seems like I've heard Nova Luna is amazing. That's the one I've heard.
It was one of the most checked out games at Dice Tower West. I played it. I like it. I don't like it as much as everybody else did, but I thought it was fine. Pictures is a party game that I was not a big fan of, but I am very much in minority there because I took it to a meetup of a bunch of non-gamers, and it was nonstop.
Really?
Well, basically,
you're making pictures with a different medium, right? Like sticks or stones or.
Sure,
rope.
And I remember, Matt, from PAX, Matt.
Yep. The Azul shirt guy. He's got a Azul outfit. He's got Azul pajamas.
Why can I not remember his last name anyway? Matt, runs the tabletop game.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
At PAX, and when I was at Board Game Geek last year at your main convention, he came up to me with pictures and said, "This is an amazing game. It's going to win awards." So, congratulations, Matt. You called that one.
Well, that's Uwe Rosenberg, right? Again, am I wrong?
No, for Pictures. No, that's Daniela and Christian's store.
Okay.
Now, the one that's I thought was a pretty cool category is the Kennerspiel, which was Cartographers, A Role Player Tale, The Crew, and The King's Dilemma.
Yes.
And I'm so glad for Thunderworks that they got Cartographers in there. That's really neat. But this is one of those awards that we don't even need to speculate about who's going to win.
Probably so.
In fact, to the point where it would be a huge upset.
It would be an upset, but I think there's an outside chance Cartographers could win.
There is, but man, oh man, The Crew is just...
Yeah, it's a monster.
It really is.
I heard some people playing the crew at Board Game Geek Con for the whole entire con, like all day and all night.
It's possible. It was played, and there wasn't even that many copies there, right? But the people who had it, like Mike Fitzgerald came and was like, almost tackled me, like, you got to play this. We're playing number 27. I was like, maybe can we start with 1?
Can we go back to 1? He goes, whatever. That's just baby stuff, baby steps. No, I've only gotten through maybe 10 of them with my group, and then COVID hit, and we stopped.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's a really solid group. I don't have any strong opinions about the first group or not. I think they're good games and stuff. I'll make the opinion that I don't know much about the city, but if Nova Luna or Pictures wins, that will be fine, but it won't become a monster hit like they do sometimes. But the crew has a chance of us still talking about it next year.
Sort of like Wingspan last year. It was Kenner, right? On Kennerspiel. And Just One is just, that's going to be a classic forever, so...
Sure, Just One is one of those party games that as soon as you play it, you just know it's a game.
Did you play King's Dilemma? What was your review on that? Did you play that one?
I liked it a lot.
Did you play through all the way?
I did actually play through all the way. It's interesting because it bugs you a little bit that there's so much content you never see.
So I played it up to a point, and I told my group, I said, I don't want to play this anymore. Can we just open everything? And they did, and we did. There you go. I saw everything.
But it's a really cool. I like the dilemma part of it's really true. The negative thing about the game, I guess, is that you argue for whatever side helps you out. You don't really care about the actual moral implications.
No.
But there's some pretty gray situations that show up. That
if you think about it, you're like, I should never vote for this, or like, why would I ever not vote for this, right? Like those, but then you do anyway because it helps you in your goals,
and then you have to make
goals.
these long-winded arguments about why this is okay to do. And there's some of the arguments I think you could see both sides.
Did you guys get into the arguing about like in character-ish kind of like, oh, we should definitely save the fire witch or whatever from being burned at the stake because she's so. Did you actually have major okay, so I don't know, maybe I'm a stick in the mud, but I was just like, I'm just all about the mechanics, right? I was like, how does this affect the game? Okay. But I don't care. Like but there's so much game there. I got weary of trying to play it with character, like it did at the beginning for sure. But then it kind of just like, what's the bid? 5, 6,
I played like a holy organization. They were like, they wanted the old religions and stuff. So I would always get into that. Like, who is this new modern fangled technology? We don't need this stuff. I got into that mode.
How many times did you play?
It's like 20 something. It was a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of game. That's why I was like, I saw where we were and I saw where we needed to go, and I understood how all the systems work together. I was like, I just want to see the endings. The endings.
Well, anyway, congratulations to all the nominees. We'll see what happens. They're announcing the winners June 15th I'm sorry, July. June. They're going to announce the Kennerspiel in June 15th. They always announce that one a month early, and we don't often talk about those because almost always, I've never played any of them when they announce them. They're almost always all really good kids games, but they don't come to America as fast as the adult games do. Yeah, it is interesting though.
High School I felt was out very quickly.
That's true, but High School was again one of those.
It depends who the publisher is. Yeah.
That when it came along, you knew it was going to win. But 5 of the 6 of the big ones are already available in English. The only one not is My Cities, and that's Cosmos, so they're going to be bringing it over for sure.
I think it's coming out next week.
The one from Cosmos?
This week. My City?
I hope so. I would love to see it. I have not.
I think it's coming fast.
It hasn't come into my house yet, man. It's weird. I used to get like 8 packages a day. Now I'm down to 1 or 2 at most.
You need to call them because Eric Martin already finished the dang thing. He's already played through it.
What?
I know, right?
Wetzel, if you're watching this,
Tom Wetzel, you're in trouble. Oh my gosh, could there be a nicer guy that represents a company? I love Thomas Wetzel.
Ooh, he's
awesome.
Nicest publisher. That's a good one.
Absolutely.
Tom is there. I don't know if he's the nicest though, because there's some really nice publishers out there.
Yeah, everybody's nice.
Let's see. Richard Brees is super nice.
Oh yeah, he's a sweetheart.
The Lamont brothers.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, we should say who's not nice. Let's.
I actually have
that
that
would be a
list,
more
too.
interesting show.
There's one publisher who is not super nice and extremely proud of it. This particular publisher / designer came to me and he said, I might go back to Essen this year because all the people who didn't like me don't go there anymore. I was like, what? Are you proud of this?
Oh, do I know who this is?
Oh, you would know who this is. I'll tell you afterwards.
I would. Okay, tell.
Now people are going to try to guess it
Secrets.
all. Alrighty. So again, we'll get to your questions eventually here, folks.
Yeah, I did.
But before we do that, we want to talk about what's coming up. Now, I was going to actually have Scott on the show anyway, so this just is fortuitous that he came on at this point. Yeah. But we were talking, obviously, Board Game Geek Spring or Family. I'm sorry, it's Board Geek Family.
Nope,
and
spring.
Oh, it's spring. Sorry.
We only called it Family for 1 year, and that was a mistake because it sort of meant you had to have a family to come. Meaning, like, I was asking, so a lot of people from Dallas didn't come, and I asked them face to their face, why didn't you come? And they're like, I don't have kids. I'm like, oops, we screwed up. So we sort of backtracked that. It's BGG Con Spring.
All right, so BGG Con Spring and Dice Tower East both canceled, along with, almost pretty much every con this year. In fact, there's only, of the major cons, Origins got postponed to the same month as Essen, and it might happen.
Week before Essen. In America, yeah.
PAX Unplugged is still in play. And
that's by the way, BGG Con Fall has not been canceled yet.
And BGG, I was about to say that. And
but
BGG
who knows,
Con
right?
Fall.
I mean...
But those are all so far away that it's really hard to make any kind of call. But still, I get that people are disappointed. Some people, it was their only con of the year to go to one of these two. So a lot of people, it's a local con to go to. It's disappointing to us, obviously. Yeah. Even though a lot of work goes into these, they're fun. Aldi runs his website, I run the Dice Tower, and we have interaction with people, but there's nothing beats talking to people in person. And it was weird because last year I had a lot of friends that I thought, man, I see these people every 3 weeks now, in the industry. And now that I haven't seen them for 2.5, 3 months, I really miss them. And it's kind of a gut punch to realize you're not going to see them for another, who knows how long.
3 years.
Like one person actually just emailed me from Essen, and they said, yeah, well, I guess I won't see you for 18 months. And I was like, oh, man, that's right.
Long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, so we've been talking about this. And so you're doing something very soon, a BGG Conline.
Right.
Where you're going to be
That's this week, actually, on Wednesday.
So why don't you tell people a little bit about what that is?
Sure. I'll give you the quick elevator pitch. So basically, it's sort of like what we do at Origins / Gen Con or Essen or all the conventions we attend. We do live streaming of game demos. And we were kind of like, well, Origins isn't happening, and now BGG Con's not happening, so let's do something like structured. So it's 2 days of streaming, 10 a.m. Pacific time starting on Wednesday this week, the 20th and 21st, so Wednesday and Thursday. I think it's 10 hours or 8 hours of games, and then a couple things at the end, like for another hour or so. And that's happening this Wednesday. BGG Conline. And it turns out it might be a more frequent thing. It's not going to be a one-shot. So we're going to have people call in. We have a call-in system. All of the games are at Lincoln's house right now in LA, in the studio. And then Lincoln and Nikki will be the hands, right? They'll be on set, manipulating pieces, manipulating cards, whatever, doing turns, talking to the publishers. There'll also be a host phoning in. So like Eric Martin, Beth Hiley. I'm not sure if Rodney's coming, but definitely Rob Warren and
wow, that's
probably one or two others. I'm not 100% sure.
Uber tiring for Lincoln and Nikki.
It's going to be challenging for sure. I think it's going to be because normally Lincoln, I mean, he works the show, but like not for 8 hours straight. And there's a lunch break in there, so we'll do some interviews and stuff in between.
We'll give them love, folks.
Please give them love. You can give us love by coming to watch.
Alrighty. And then we're going to do something on our channel. So what?
One more thing. All the games you can purchase. There will be links to purchase all the games.
Okay.
At that moment.
Well, that's really cool. Then I guess that forces me to watch.
It's sort of an exhibitor hall, right? Like you can just walk in, watch the game, push the button,
Yeah, but how do I do the whole thing where I go, you know what? Let me think about it. I'm going to be back
Right,
a
and the
little
price.
bit later.
Yeah. I'll be back later. If you have any copies left, let me know. Yeah, no, it's a little different. Yeah, there's no negotiations, no haggling,
I
no
will
2 for
never
ones.
forget
Yeah.
the moment I ran into, or someone online, Renegade was selling Clank in Space, I guess it was, and someone grabbed the copy and just went away. And they said, well, I didn't leave the hall, and I was going to pay for it later. I just didn't feel like waiting in line.
Just
And
borrowed it for a while.
then they came
I
back and
wanted to
paid
hold
for
it.
it. Well,
Oh,
they
really?
didn't want to wait in line, but they also wanted to get a copy. So they just grabbed the copy, walked off with it, and came back and paid later. And they were under the impression that there was nothing morally wrong with that.
Seems like
And
a little gray, in my opinion.
it seems
Like-
like it.
I didn't want to wait to pay for my bill at the restaurant or the hotel, so I just left and then it came back later. I don't know. That's weird.
Oh, Corlu is
But-
asking, and this is an easy answer for you. Is there a fee for what you just talked about for this BGG Con line?
Nope. 100% free.
Right. Yeah, easy enough. All right, so then the Dice Tower, we're doing something similar. Ours will be the same week as Dice Tower Con would have been, June 30th through July 4th. We're still working on our content. Some of it will be similar, where we'll have publishers and talking to them. We will be doing a live top 10 list every day, so 5 top 10
Wow.
lists straight. One of them will be Sam Healy.
You got Z in training? Oh, okay, cool. You're bringing in the
I'm bringing
the
Sam
relief
back.
pitcher?
One.
Relief pitcher?
Well, no,
Cool.
Z and me are going to be in all of them.
Oh, you're going to be in
Sam
all
will,
of them? Wow.
Sam will join us
Okay.
for one. No pun included. Efka and
nice.
Elaine will join us for one. Eric Lang will join us for one. And the Eric Summer will be in one. And then the 5th person I'm still talking to, and if I can pull that off, we will announce that shortly. So
Nice.
that
sounds
we're going to
fun.
announce as, I'm excited about it, and we'll announce it as time goes by. But in between these two, so this is the last week of
Man.
June, right?
June.
I don't have, do you have the dates
So it
in
is,
front of you?
our thing. Yeah, our thing is the last. Yeah, I have the dates in front of me. Or I will in a second. Hopefully my internet didn't.
It should be like, and I mean, we announced it on
Remember,
Boardgamegeek.
remember when you needed something on BGG and it would be crashed? Like, I remember, like, on your show, you'd be like, I'm going to look it up on BGG, and you would look it up and it'd be like, it'd be down or something. Remember those days?
Well, we still, if your site ever slows down for any reason, our whole studio was like, we're like, how do we continue?
I get messaged instantly. Like, this phone turns on and lights up and it doesn't stop. We've got the dates. That would be May 18th. No, that's today.
It's
date's
June
not on here.
24th through 28th.
Oh, no, there it is. June 20th. It was in the subject line.
28. So that is 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. What? 5 days. Okay. And so this.
5 days.
So there's a lot of cons out there, obviously. And there's the big cons, Origins and, Gen Con and stuff. But one thing that we have both always been really proud about our conventions is the fact that, yes, there's other things going on. But at the end of the day, it's about getting together, playing games. And I know.
Right.
For a lot of people, that's one of the main things you miss. You have friends that you want to play with. You have, people that you meet once a year to play games with. And I'm the same way. So when I first thought about this idea of an online con, I really kind of poo-pooed it. I said, I can't think of any good logistical way to pull that off. I know we can do the content part, the seminars and stuff. I can't figure out how to do the other part. I know that these different things like Tabletopia and Tabletop Simulator exist. But how would you get everyone there? And that is when BoardGameGeek came up with a solution. So how does that work?
Oh, me?
Yeah, it is you.
Well, should we call what the name of it is? Virtual
sure.
Gaming Con with the Dice Tower and BGG.
Woohoo!
If you could think of a better name, although it's probably too late because we're probably going to stick with us, but if you think of a better name, let us know. Yeah, so we're going to be utilizing the software from tabletop.events website, which is a convention management system. So typically they've been doing physical cons, right? Like printing tickets and printing badges and signing people up and registering for events. Well, a whole bunch of cons this year went virtual, and they started doing virtual cons on the system, and it works really well. So you'll be able to, and the way the structure is working out, if you had a ticket for BGG Spring or Dice Tower East, your admission is free. You will be automatically registered through your email address with an account on Tabletop Events, or not an account, but a ticket Then you go to tabletop events and make content and stuff like that. From there, you want me to keep going? I'll keep going. From there, you will be able to either host an event yourself, meaning if you want to play Settlers of Catan on Saturday morning at 9 a.m., you can go in and create an event called Settlers of Catan live at 9 a.m. We're going to play on Zoom, put in a link. We're going to play on Discord, put in a link, put in the description, open up for 4 slots, including yourself, so there'll be 3. And people can go and sign up for that. So I can join your game. If you created a Settlers of Catan event virtually, I could join that, and I'll get hooked into the system like a ticket at Gen Con. You know, when you sign up for all those events at Gen Con, you get tickets and stuff. This is really similar to that. So you can basically fill your day with as much or as little as you want. You want 1 game, fine. You want 5 games, of course, I would hope you don't lay yourself too heavily where you miss something. But it's all going to be virtual and played through many systems, right? Zoom, Skype, face-to-face, face-to-face on a chat. What else? Discord. How many things
Skype,
are there
Zoom.
these days?
There's a lot of different things.
I can't even count them all. So, and then also all the virtual systems like Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator,
Steam, iOS.
You name it.
You know.
Yeah.
And the fact is, even if it's not scheduled, there'll be a Discord chat where you'll be able to jump in and say, "Hey, I'm in the mood to play Scythe online, and does anyone want to join me?" And you can set up the event right then and there and have people join you.
Right. The Discord server will also have 50 rooms available to do voice chats. And Discord just recently released a video, so you can have 20 people in a room on a Discord server, which is awesome, right? Because then you're all got your own views and stuff. So
part of what this means is that the Dice Tower crew, we're going to be taking that week off from making content, and we're going to come in and play games with people. I can't promise that I'll play games the entire time. Unlike Lincoln, I need sleep. But I mean, but I'll come in. I'm thinking about maybe running a game of Werewolf. I definitely want to see what I can do with Cosmic Encounter. And again, there's a lot of different systems. Yeah, I'm going to talk to Peter Alatka and see if we can do something special for this time, just because I know he's a big fan of this sort of thing also. And you will be surprised, designers and publishers are going to show up and want to show off their games. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of different content things out there. Some of them cost money. For example, Tabletopia.
Yes, and as you mentioned that, I've just gotten word, hot on the press, Tabletopia will be a top-level sponsor. Premier sponsor, let's call it, Tabletopia. So what that means is they will be making all of the games free to play, even the premium ones, during the event. They'll also be running learn-to-play events, maybe some seminars for designers on how to use their workshop to make and prototype new games. All of their games are licensed by the publisher with a profit-sharing agreement as opposed to other things. And for this event, they will still offer the share, well, that's really generous of them, of the average revenue as if the games were being played for money. There you go. That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah, that is really. Yeah, I'm really.
This just came in on my chat before we got online here. So I think that
is cool. So that's one of the things you do. Now, some people and the questions are talking about Discord and stuff. It's not a difficult program to use. It's essentially like a giant group chat, and you'll be able to go in there and just talk, and you can get to it from your web browser. It's pretty easy to jump in. I'm assuming
the questions are flying by. Oh my gosh!
All right, well, let's
as we knew they would.
Let's pull up a few of these questions. The first one here.
For sure.
Is there a ticket price for this event?
Yes and no. So if you had a ticket for Dice Tower East or BGG Con Spring, you will automatically get into this for free. Right. We are for meaning you already paid for your ticket for our each other's conventions, and this is kind of something a little to make up for the loss, right? I mean, it sucks that, as Tom mentioned that.
I don't know. I'm assuming it's the same for Scott, but if you bought a ticket for Dice Tower East and you transferred it to 2021, that's a big help to us. We appreciate it. You still get that. This is something additional that you get beyond.
Correct. This is not in place of. Yeah. Right. This is not in place of anything. Yeah. To be really clear about that.
The ticket price hasn't been announced yet. We'll announce it, or Scott will announce it soon.
Soon. So tickets, if you're not in that group, those 2 groups we mentioned, tickets will be open to the world. This is a worldwide event. I mean, the internet being as it is, it doesn't stop us from having this anywhere in the world. So I think it could be massive. I'm hoping it will be. And we're going to have a ticket price soon for you. I don't want to say anything because I'm not 100% sure. We're still kind of dealing with that.
Sure, realize that.
But it will be coming out soon.
Yeah. We'll announce stuff as we get closer.
Absolutely.
Cora Lou wants to know, is there a way to identify Dice Tower and BGG personality so we can play with you? I always use my full name, so...
Yeah. A cool thing about this tabletop event site is that you can do tons of cool filters. I'm not sure you can do it on the creator's name. I'll have to look into that, but in fact, Jeff is listening to me as we speak. He might be able to answer that. Jeff is basically very... he's been really learning tabletop events, and he's basically going to be managing a lot of the events. Oh, I got this too. Ignacy from Portal Games will be running some events, so that's exciting.
And I would not be surprised that you will hear many such announcements like that.
I hope so. I hope so. That'd be cool.
We'll browbeat people like Bonacor and others to join.
Yeah, we'll get Bonacor to do like a beer drinking con. I don't know. Yeah,
look,
probably something related
keep
to
Bonacor
Terraform.
out of this. He would automatically
you'd have
be there.
you'd have to ban him. I mean, come on, he's going to be there.
Okay, that's a good question. What are some summaries of what applications we should have ready and configured to join in the fest?
In fact, I think Tom and I talked about this earlier, but I think a few videos that I'll help manage to produce with Lincoln and stuff is Discord. Like, how do you use Discord? It's real easy. I mean, it's basically installing a program and clicking a button and joining a room. It's like it couldn't be easier. I can't think of anything. Probably Discord, probably Skype, probably Zoom. Well, you don't need Zoom, but somebody might be hosting it. Whoever's hosting it with a Zoom probably needs a premium Zoom because it'll only last 40 minutes otherwise. Tabletopia, make sure to install that. Tabletop Simulator is on Steam. You can install that.
And the fact is, you could do anything you want. If you just wanted to play something with other people through Skype or through some other place, and and you both had the boards to do it. The best thing about this is you're going to find a group of players. One of the things I always find unfortunate when it comes to online games, board games, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to move to play a board game. Who else is ready? I don't know who's out there. Now you're going to have hundreds of people ready to play at that point in time.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you're an introvert, it's going to be a little bit easier to get into a game than it would be at a real life con.
What do you use Discord for? That's what I want to know. What does it add to this? Discord can make a text-based chat room where you can type messages back and forth to each other. You can also have a voice channel. So you can join a voice channel and talk directly to a person through a headset. Microphone and headphones, basically. If someone's very serious about this, I would invest in probably like a cheap $20 Logitech headset with the headphones and the mic. Having your mic not be open, like if I was not on my headphones, Tom would be hearing himself through my mic here, and so you kind of don't want that with online gaming. So get a headset. Don't spend a lot of money there. You can
buy real cheap ones.
Yeah, for sure. And they all work pretty well. USB, basically.
Steve wants to know if events will run around the clock since it's a worldwide nature.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see why not.
There's no reason that we would shut this down at night. I mean, I would wager that there will be certain times where there will be fewer people there. That's just the way it's going to be, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to run a 3 a.m. event personally. No, kidding. But if this goes, I mean, your audience is fairly international. Ours is fairly international. This could run 24/7 without nonstop. I mean, there's always going to be something running, for sure.
Tool says our panel is going to be part of the con. Likely, we're still working on that to
probably
see what will happen.
There's probably going to be at least one that I've heard of, and not confirmed yet, but probably at least one.
But that's the thing. This thing lets us do that. If you're somebody and you wanted to run a panel, again, it's like Origins and Gen Con. I assume you would have to run it through Scott or Jeff Anderson, to get the okay. I don't even know how that works. They'll
that's a good question
it.
too. Yeah.
But maybe you're a publisher and want to show off a game, but this is that great event. You have that game you want to show people. Here's your chance. You can do it. And
There's
if
no
you want
table restrictions. Yeah.
And one of the things I like about this is you could actually avoid a game if you're not interested in it. That guy sits there and he looks at you and he says, "Do you want to play this?"
And
you're
kind of like,
game? "Oh no, I don't want to play that. But I'm kind of stuck in this spot." But online, you can just go to the next thing. You don't have to. You're not there. You're a ghost who just zoomed through.
And I think Jeff Anderson is in the chat room. He's answering questions right now. He's going to come on the show next week, I think, or sometime soon. I'm not sure if it'll be a nightly chat, but he's going to demo the software.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that? Yeah.
Well, here's a good
of
question though. So Rick asks this, and where can we read what's going on at any given time? So there's two questions here I want to answer. First of all, is if you want to keep up to date with what's coming up, we're going to post on the Dice Tower at some point a video that explains all the details. This will be a couple weeks before the con, or maybe a week before the con, and so here's what to do and everything.
Here's what we're doing. Yeah.
Also, the front page of Board Game Geek will have news related to this, and you can look there for that information. During the con itself, this website will actually have all that information on it that you'll be able to go there and see, oh, there's an event happening here. They'll be marked so you can find them.
Yeah, Tabletop Events has a really cool view where you can see the timeline during the day, and you can scroll through the days and night and the hours and see what's going on at any time. I should also mention that our event together will have a shared Discord where people can chat. You can create little looking for game. There's a looking for game channel. So even if you don't have something scheduled, even if you just hanging out and you go into looking for game and someone else is looking for game, you can probably make a game on the fly. It doesn't need to be scheduled. I think I'm speaking correctly, right, Jeff?
The best thing about this online con is you can break the 6-2-1 rule of thumb and no one will care. That's 6 hours of sleep, 2 meals, and 1 bath. I think
your family will care about the shower.
I agree on that, and also I still think you should get to sleep because you can still be cranky online.
It's a little dangerous to stay up all night. Yeah, you don't want to do that.
So people keep talking about the Idiot's Guide. We'll do our best to make sure we get the things. This is a good question. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say Jeff Anderson is all over this. I mean, if you tweet at him or write to him, he'll point you in the right direction. I'm giving Jeff extra work. But we'll all be very, very cognizant of trying to get the word out. I understand this is a somewhat of a confusing thing, right? It's different. There hasn't been a lot of this done. There's nothing really to go look and be like, oh yeah, I know how it works. It's not.
Right.
No, don't feel stupid asking questions. We get it. We've been just only thinking about this for a few weeks now, so it's kind of new to us too. So we want to work it all out. We want to make everybody feel like it's their con. I mean, that's the goal. You come to a con, it's our job to make that con fun. We're going to do that as much as we can, right? Hopefully it doesn't get too crazy huge and it goes out of control, but that would be a good problem to have.
Goofy is asked, is there a way to monitor what's going on in case weird or creepy things happen? He said he doesn't expect that, but yeah, just like any con, I'm assuming
we'll have
moderators and things, and hey, if you have a problem, email this or text this, let these people know right away.
Yeah, we will definitely set up our harassment policies, and we take that pretty seriously, very seriously. I shouldn't say pretty seriously. And obviously we can't control everything here because some people are going to be, you're kind of running your own game con, right? You're putting your game together. You're going to have people on video. You're going to have people on chat. It'll be up to you to kick them out of your chat. But of course, if you go to someone else's, be aware that you can just walk away if something, you're not stuck there, right? If something untoward happens, let's say.
We mentioned the name Jeff Anderson a lot. If you don't know, Jeff Anderson's the one who runs all the Board Game Geek events, and it's his brainchild in putting this together. In fact, he put his email here in the chat, so I'm not giving it away, but at jeff@boardgamegeek.com. And he says here, bear with us, we're breaking ground here and trying our best. And he, working with Sharon Madden, who was running Dice Tower East, and other folks, this is something, there's going to be hang-ups. It always happens. There's going to be things that go wrong and stuff, but at the same time, I think with a lot of stick-to-itiveness and I've already seen people do some really cool stuff with board games online. All we're trying to do here is put it all in one place.
Yeah. Trying to get that critical mass of people just in one place, and that's what the cons do, right? They put a bunch of people in a room and you put 1,000 board games in there, thousands. It happens. I mean, it just does. So I think this can be simulating that feeling. And maybe you might prefer it. Who knows?
Yeah, there will be also someone said maybe, yes, you'll be able to label games. You could say, hey, this is a teaching game. Or, maybe you want to play a game of Age
more information. The more information you can give if you want to host something, don't just half-ass the the form, right? There's a good amount of detail in these forms to tell people what to expect with your game. Much like the way Gen Con works, right? They require a ton of information to run an event at Gen Con. This is similar. The more information you can give to identify the people who you want to play with, the better, right? Don't just put in whatever. I'm playing this. Done. Give a good information. Maybe if you feel it. I mean, I don't know what to expect sometimes, right? Like, but say, oh, this is an advanced game. We expect you know the rules, right? Like, that's important. Or this is a beginner game. I'm going to teach you all the rules. Make sure you put that in there too.
Scotty wants to know, to make it an authentic Board Game Geek experience, can you have Hard 8 barbecue drop shipped to my house?
Drop shipped? I will make a phone call.
Actually,
I would love to have some Hard 8. That would be great.
I've had different things show up in my box lately. We're like, do you want food from this restaurant all the way across America? You can get it shipped to your house. I haven't even clicked those buttons because I'm so afraid of the pricing.
Yeah, I'm afraid too. We thought about ordering a Chicago deep dish pizza the other day, but then I'm like, I don't really care that much. I don't really know Chicago deep dish, but Michelle does. So she's like, well, you should try this. I'm like, you sure? Okay, maybe. I'll have to see. I'll let you know how it goes. But so. Yep.
Yeah, so this is a fun thing. I'll tell you folks, when I first heard about the idea, I was like, we'll have to wait and see. But after seeing the site, after seeing its capabilities, and I'm really excited about this. I want to be clear, there's no way we can ever replicate what happens in person to person. You just can't. Sure. But this is hopefully a good substitute for that while we wait. And hopefully, I think for myself, this is coming at a really good time because I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm sick of not seeing my friends, and this is going to be a good way, hopefully, to see them. And hopefully we'll have some good stories.
Yeah. And make new connections, too. I mean, sometimes it can be a little weird to put yourself out at a convention. Like, it's a big group of people, and a lot of people don't deal well with that. This is a little more intimate, right? You're small. You can look for a small group. You can look for a big group. You can do what you want. So I think that could be a big positive here.
Corlu says, will you be able to set up a dress rehearsal for people to test out their systems the weekend before? The fact is, you can start doing that now.
Good question. Yeah, you could start.
But I mean, you can start testing out these things if you want to. Like we mentioned, Tabletopia. You can actually go look at that website now to see how it works and everything. It's something you can look at ahead of time. If you don't know what Discord is, you can go look at Discord now. It's not like these are hidden things. You can go check those out. The main website.
I think. Yeah. You guys have a Discord, right? The Dice Tower has a Discord.
No, we actually use Slack.
Okay, Slack.
In between things, but I know that Discord and Slack are very similar. Now people are talking about where they want to order food from.
Oh boy, sounds good to me. Get a little Tex-Mex going on, a little taco action.
Well, I guess if I'm going to make this like a real con, halfway through I'll have to say, okay, I'm going to do a meal through Skype and just eat with some people. That's like the
public lunch hour. Dine with Tom.
There's no virtual childcare.
Did we miss anybody's questions? There was a lot of questions flying.
There was a lot
really
that popped up right away. So if you had a question and we missed it and you want to answer it, add it to the end because I'm really far behind. Actually, you can ask about anything. It doesn't have to be about the con. You could ask, what Aldi's favorite barbecue place in Dallas is, or what have you. What is it anyway? I've always wondered.
Lockhart. Have you been to Lockhart? It's a bit far from the con. It's closer to downtown now. So it's pure smoke barbecue, no sauce, or they have sauce begrudgingly. So you get smoked meats, and it's fantastic. Lockhart.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to remember that.
And it's like a 5-minute ride from the new hotel, the one in the fall.
Oh, the new hotel's fantastic. That's one of the best hotels I've ever been into for a con.
Oh, we were lucky to get that hotel for sure. It's fun. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know there are people who make money eating food on videos. Everyone's talking about playing online.
There should be a lunch channel. Hey, Frank.
That's true. Just sitting there eating food. You join us for lunch and watch someone eat food. Well, while we're waiting for other questions, Corley wants to know, how did you start Board Game Geek? Because we have not often talked about that on our channel. I know you've said that story 100 times.
I've told the story 100. Yeah, I've told the story 100 times. I'll do the quick one. So back in the 90s, remember those days? I got into Magic and Games Workshop stuff really heavily. I got out of it when I moved to California. I moved to California for a year and did a startup. When I came back, I got back into gaming. I started up a game group. I was in the video game industry at that point. And so I got Settlers of Catan. And I was like playing that with my poker group, and we were obsessed with it. And then I started thinking, you know what, I want to find some other stuff and look around. So remember Rec Games Board, that thing?
Yeah,
it's one of those.
Of course I remember.
That's one of those things.
There's a lot of stories I could tell about that. There used to be the longest running feud I ever saw between two board gamers, Josh Adelson and Maverick, went after each
Maverick.
other.
Yeah. Right,
about
right.
I don't remember what they were fighting about.
What were they even fighting about? I'm sure it was just all like.
And there was that one guy
it out.
who made that pirate game who told us it was all
Peterson.
bigger. It was bigger than Catan, and he went on and on and on about it. Anyway, sorry. Those were good days.
Yeah. So Rec Games Board, I started searching around, and I found the Dallas Metro Gamers. They were posting up session reports weekly, and they were playing games weekly, and they were playing all the games I was looking interested into. Because back then there was barely any like commercial internet and very few websites about board games. It was all mainstream stuff like Monopoly and Scrabble and all that stuff. So reading about all this stuff made me want to play it. I didn't know how, because I didn't know how do you get these games, where do you start. Rec Games Board was the answer. I met the Dallas Metro Gamers, started playing games with them. I got admitted into a top secret Yahoo group called Diggers. You may have heard that in the Tom's ears.
I'm part of it.
Remember
too.
Diggers? Yeah. So I was like, man, there's so much gatekeeping here. Like, why do I have to? In fact, I had to interview with the Dallas Metro Gamers to get into the game group. Like, they took me out to dinner and interviewed me. And then I had to be deemed not a wanker by the people that were running it. So anyway, I got into that group. I got into Diggers. I saw Diggers, and I saw 5 years of archives of very, 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 very interesting talking about board games and all the stuff I wanted to learn about. And it was all in this mailing group. And I'm like, why? Why can't it be public information? So I started the website, and basically I was running a video game website at the time, and it was kind of dying. It was user-driven news and information, interviews and stuff about video games. It was called 3D Game Geek, so you can see where the name came from. Took that code, modified it in a weekend, got the Board Game Geek website up. It didn't even have the Board Game Geek domain. I didn't even know how to register a domain back then. So it was 3dgamegeek.com/BoardGameGeek was the URL. So it ran for a while. And with permission, we were cutting and pasting the session reports out of Diggers, like the mailing list, and saying attributed by, and then putting in the name like Greg Schlosser, and then the game name or whatever, and attaching to the game, and then cutting and pasting thing, and all with permission, of course. We wouldn't take their content without asking. So started doing that, and it's just tons of work, right? So it's like, let's get this user driven. So added the user system, people could log in, create accounts. This was pre-Wikipedia. Pre-Facebook, pre-YouTube, all those things. And so people could log in and upload their session reports, upload pictures, upload files. The gaming dumpster gave us all their files. We started putting those into the games. That's a really short version of everything, how everything started.
Yeah, well, definitely it grew as the years went by. It's really interesting, and I never knew until years later that Diggers was the cause for it, because I heard about this super secret group, and you have to be approved. You have to be approved to be on this mailing list. And I just looked. So
as the group gets bigger, it gets harder to get in, right? Like, because there's always going to be somebody who's like that guy. Kick him out.
Unfortunately, I got in before the people didn't like me. knew who I was.
You struck early.
And I got a lot of information from that group.
Imagine that feeling of not being the right kind of person, that you're gate kept out of having fun from this amazing hobby. Like, I would suck. That's what I didn't want.
Well, you've definitely succeeded in that. Everyone can go to Board Game Geek, and
it was interesting. We were talking about the time of users, and like we ran for like 3 or 4 years without under 50,000 users. So I think it took us 4 years to get to 50,000. Last month we registered 50,000 new users. So that's how crazy things have gotten. Isn't that ridiculous? And I think that's COVID basically pumping up the user registrations, but that's not normal for us.
Yeah, it's a neat thing to just watch the site grow. I mean, it had started. I was in board games my whole life, but when I got into the hobby board games, Board Game Geek had beat me by 6 months. I think it was really close. I found it because I was looking
before you started getting active. Yeah.
Right. I looked for a review. It was an Axis and Allies game, and I went and found this website, and I was like, they have the games ranked, and anything that ranks stuff is automatically near and dear to my heart. I was like, what? There's a list of the best. And then actually, when Board Game Geek first started, there were 2 lists. Do you remember there was that other list? I can't remember who ran it. Spiel Freaks kept track of it at the time. Do you remember there was another list where the people could send in their rankings? You had to like email them in your rankings.
Yes, that was Aaron. His name was Aaron. Testing my memory tonight. Yes, it was a Rec Games board thing where you would mail him your ranks and he would calculate all the averages, right?
Right, and it was I did it. Yeah. I sent him the email and said, "Here's my rankings for games," and then I would look at that, and then Board Game Geek. And as time went by, Board Game Geek was easier because, again, the user-driven content. To me, I don't know where you saw the site explode, but I remember when Geek lists were at it. I never saw so much user content.
That was a big ad, for sure. Geek lists, I always forget that. That was one of the things that let people be creative with games lists. Yeah.
Well, it's still.
How did it come up with the name Board Game Geek? Sorry, one pip wonder. How did you come up with the name Board Game Geek? Well, the first website I created was 3D Game Geek, so I only just changed one word. 3D to Game Board. I don't know. It just was natural. I don't know. No, I don't. And the funny thing is we had a logo for 3D Game Geek drawn by a guy who I don't know I don't remember him. I don't know who he was. Just got the logo, and I took it and put it on Board Game Geek, and then I had the logo redrawn by a coworker when I worked at 3D Realms. He was a concept artist and a very talented comic book artist. And so he took it overnight and transformed it into the cartoon guy that a lot of people remember. I mean, some of you don't remember. You know what I mean?
That's true. It's one of the things about the board games that I always find fascinating is when Scott and I here, we talk about stuff that happened in the late 90s and early 2000s. That is eons ago. People, if we talk sometimes about 2015, we're talking about, there's a lot of people here in the chat who have only been in board games for 2 years, 3 years, maybe even some less than a year.
Weren't even born into that, right? I mean, they're...
Well, thank you. Always bringing up this oldness thing. But yes.
No, I know. I hate getting old. Makes me feel I know people like the story of Board Game Geek's origins, but is that my only story I have to tell? I probably have other stories.
Oh, well, I mean...
that's a different day.
Yeah, well, we could reminisce
but that's probably the most interesting to people, right? The origin story. Because, you gotta know where you came from.
Yeah, but there is so many interesting things. I remember the first time I heard that you were going to try to go and take Board Game Geek and make it your full-time business. And I thought, that's amazing to be able to do this full-time job, but I don't think you're going to be able to pull that off. We'll see. I know Board Game Geek's popular, but...
We had a hard first month. Yeah, we had a hard first month because basically one of the big advertisers, we spent a lot of money on paper, never paid the bill. And that was the first month of me working on it full-time. And I was like, oh, no. I'm going to be back at my old job within a week. No, but it all worked out. Yeah, but so I didn't start working on... So BGG was launched in 2000, January 2000. And so 20 years just in the blink of an eye. But I didn't start working on it full-time until 2005 as a job.
Which seems weird now, because nowadays... Yeah. When people talk to us, they'll say, "Oh, I'm planning to start something and make it my full-time job tomorrow." And I think, it seems like these things take time, but maybe things are more accelerated now.
More accelerated now, yeah. I think you can monetize things easier now and make money off things way easier than you used to.
And I definitely remember back in
5 years.
In 2000, cool. I want to say it was 2010. That's only 10 years ago. Someone from your site I was talking to, they were at a convention, and they were struggling to get publishers to talk to you, which is not even a remote problem at this point in time. But I remember them complaining and saying, publishers just don't see the value of Board Game Geek. And that is no longer a thing. Mm. Well, folks,
it's been a wild ride.
That was a super fast hour, but I'm strict.
I know.
We got to end at 10. So here's the deal. Before we end, just remember, front page of Board Game Geek, the Board Game Geek news section is going to have this information on it. If new announcements come up, we'll repeat them, and I'll make videos periodically as time goes by, or you can even ask here in the evening chats. We're going to try to keep you as informed as we can. A lot of this is still first time. A lot of this is still being put together, and we still have a month and, I think it's a month and a couple days, about 5 weeks before this starts. So there's a lot of stuff to get done and everything.
Oh wait,
But
I got a whole bunch of. Can I say one more thing?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, Jeff's been answering all the questions where I couldn't think of any of those things.
Oh,
Oh, you know what? I thought he gave me more answers, but he didn't. He was just he was feeding me answers. Aaron Fugi, that was the guy who did the top tens.
that's
list
right.
on RGB.
That's
Aaron Fugi.
right.
Yep. Good job, Jeff, remembering that. Okay. End of the show.
Alrighty, folks.
And then Jeff is coming on. Jeff is going to come on and demo the software too, soon.
Come on, Dice. I mean, on the Board Game Geek channel.
On Dice Tower. Oh, he's coming on your channel, right? Jeff Anderson.
Probably.
Is that the plan?
Either way,
Probably.
One of the will happen. Even if it happens on Board Game Geek channel, maybe we'll post it on both channels, just that way no one misses it.
Absolutely.
To make sure that there's a way to go through it. And I promise it's not that difficult. And I'm sure it's also a group user thing, so you'll be able to say, I don't know how to do this, and someone online will probably be able to help you as time goes by. Alrighty, thank you to everyone who came by and watched us. Don't forget we have a live chat tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, Z is battling against the internet or playing an online game in the morning, and another daily chat tomorrow. Thanks, Aldi, for joining us. Check out Board Game Geek. It's open on like 3 of my browsers right now, as I'm sure it is on many other computers.
I've got a few tabs open.
Alrighty, well, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Scott Alden. Aldi.
Wait, what did you used to say when you ended the show?
I don't remember. What did I used to say? Good night. I don't remember.
Good night.
Good night. Bye. See ya. See you next time. That's my new phrase. See you next time.
All right. Oh, Mo.